When you volunteer from EFIL, you move from your local point of view to a much wider one. You learn the concept and the impact of working with multiplicators.
The difference between AFS national organization and EFIL was, I guess, that EFIL was covering more ground than the national organization. But other than that, we were looking for the same goals.
I think both of the organizations, in a way, offer any person a unique chance to understand cultures better, learn from each other, learn from different nationalities, different customs, making interesting discussions. So my biggest learning of my AFS exchange was becoming independent, learning to understand my own culture, but also the host culture and the other cultures. Whereas biggest learning of EFIL or AFS board membership on national level was what it actually takes to make the whole world of AFS and exchange and intercultural learning happen when it comes to regulation, insurance, when it comes to quality, volunteer development, and all the other aspects. So for me, it was a wonderful journey, everything about informal learning, intercultural exchange, and starting really from personal experience and grassroots level in the local chapter, all the way to the, I don't want to say to the top, but to the regulatory insurance liability connections to our business.
I started engaging with EFIL. I got to know a lot of people at the VSS. Then I was invited to apply for training for trainers. And it's this very traditional, trajectory that you go through as someone who, comes from the national level and starts engaging with EFIL. And I was also very happy, actually, that as EFIL volunteer, you can experience all these things, So it's not only about being able to do workshops. It can also be about, representing your organization and helping advance your organization's mission in different environments.
With EFIL, one is able to see a bit the bigger picture of policies that is really then influencing how national AFS organizations are able to implement the core business of AFS exchanges in a way. But EFIL looks more at like the bigger picture in that, and that is really very interesting. It has allowed me to get a very different understanding of how AFS is able to shape their operations.
What I did volunteering for EFIL was mostly trainings as a regular volunteer, if you wish. That is also something that I did with AFS Austria, but of course, the needs of a national AFS organization are very different than the needs of something like an umbrella organization. So with AFS Austria, things that we always had in mind were things like program quality, and how could we enhance the meaning of the exchange programs that we do for the hosted students, for the host families, but also for the volunteers running these programs. And that is also, of course, part of the things that were the contents of the EFIL trainings and the EFIL activities that I was involved with, but it went beyond that. So there was a lot of intercultural learning, global education elements that also were part of that.
I think really the opportunity to be able to think about topics that actually are very foundational to our work as AFS is extremely beneficial once you go back, on the national and also on a very local level, because I think it makes you reflect about these standard activities, for example, that you do with exchange students. It makes you reflect about your own positionality, when you talk to exchange students, when you talk to host families, when you talk to new volunteers. So I think it sets in motion this ongoing process of self-reflection, whatever you do. And it makes you question at all times, how am I really contributing to our mission? How am I really, through things that I'm doing, how am I contributing to creating a more just and peaceful world? What does it mean actually for me to live in a more just world? So what is justice in that sense? And how is intercultural learning, or how are our activities contributing to more justice, or how are they perpetuating injustices? How are they being exclusive when we want to be inclusive, and stuff like that. And I think it is a gift actually to AFS organizations in Europe to have EFIL, who offers this platform to meet and then to reflect on these things together.
And so, of course, what we started doing was exchanging ideas and best practices and, you know, these things that you do informally. And these things then sort of informed me back in my volunteering in Austria.
I have always learned a lot of things, but always with this compromise of sharing what I learned and contributing to the development of local volunteers and national volunteers.
Your impact is not just on the people you reach through the trainings or through the events, but it has a much bigger impact, much wider impact, because the people you target, they will have to target themselves other people, and so the effect is much bigger.